Now, this is my encounter with a lady who was unalived in a house party in Lagos. Just yesterday, I laid down and all of a sudden, I saw myself in a space like the place was as though people were buying and selling. Then all of a sudden, the lady stood next to me. I looked at her and the next thing I could perceive was the stench of death. Now, a little backstory. It is quite easy for me to tell between someone who is existing here on the other realm and someone who is no more existing here on the other realm. Now, I stood next to her and immediately her eyes caught mine. All of a sudden, she tried reaching out. Someone is passing. Now, there was something that happened in this story that I don't actually want to talk about, but I will talk about it in this story. Now, immediately she looked at me. She tried reaching for my lower region. Now, that was awkward. So I prevented her impulsively. When I prevented her, the next thing she said was, "Oh, you're still alive." Then I understood that the same way I could tell that she was not alive was the same way she could tell that I am still existing on this realm. Then immediately, something that had never happened to me before, I wanted to utilize that little opportunity to ask a lot of questions that I had little or no clarification on getting to that period. The next thing I wanted to say was, "So, is reincarnation real?" She cut me short and the next thing she said was, "I miss my mom. I miss my siblings." That anytime she would come into the place where her youngest would be, they would tell me that it's a monitoring spirit and they would rebuke her. Now, aside the stench of death, I kept perceiving faintly from her the overwhelming sadness that enveloped her kind of affected me just standing next to her. I wanted to understand what exactly unalived her. She came clear to me that she was unalived in a house party. The intention was not for them to be unalived, but instead they were overdosed on a substance. Now, she said these words with a more sadder tone. I could feel her sadness. At a point, I felt as though I was about to be stuck in that same place she was. The next question I asked her was, "Didn't you ask God for forgiveness?" She looked at me and then the next thing she said was, "Which God?" I said, "The God we Christians, the Jesus God." She stopped. She said, Oh, you mean the Supreme?" That was what she used. She did not address our Father in heaven as God. She addressed him as Supreme. Then she went on to say, "The children of the Supreme are guarded jealously, and they are not left to wander after death. The people who wander are those who are rejected. The same way the Supreme guards his followers in person on this earth, the way he guards his followers, his dedicated followers while alive, is the same way he guards them the moment they leave this planet." So, meaning that she wasn't part of the Supreme but of the rejected. Another thing she said was, she said it reluctantly, "His name is not even Jesus. That is just the name we call him on this realm." But she did not dwell more on that topic. Now, remember I said earlier on, she tried reaching for my lower region. I asked her, she said she left this world a closet lesbian, meaning that she wasn't yet out of the closet due to our family values and system here in Africa, or better, Nigeria. And that since she came here, she has been sad, wondering, and the urge hasn't faded one bit. While trying to ask her more questions, the stench of death heightened. And all of a sudden, she looked around as though something was coming and she zoomed off. That was it. She didn't give me her name. She didn't give me more details. But it was obvious that the fact that she was a wanderer, she wasn't meant to stay at a place for a long time. Whatever you die doing, you will keep doing that when you get to the other realm. You will keep doing that when you get to the other side. So far as you die an unrepentant sinner,